Before we hop into this episode, I am proud to announce that I have partnered with Ambidexter, a digital content marketing company. They offer various services such as graphic design, content writing, media relations marketing, and so much more. Check out their socials, visit their website, or shoot them an email for more information. These are all linked down below. Ambidexter will launch an AmbiBlog series which features different podcasts based in the Philippines. They will be posting a new feature weekly. It's very exciting to be part of such a great project. Thank you, Ambidexter. Before I start with this episode, I just want to give a quick shout out to Podmetrics. Yup, Podmetrics is the platform I use to get all the data I need for the show. From who listens to me, all the way to where they come from, Podmetrics takes care of all of that so I can make better content for you. You can even integrate Podmetrics with Facebook and YouTube so you can get more data from your live streams. So if you're a podcaster or want to start your own podcast, go visit podmetrics.co and sign up for free. Use my code JakeOfAllTradesWithDelRo. With that out of the way, cue the intro music. What is going on, everybody? Kamusta kayo lahat mula sa Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, or wherever the heck you are on the planet? This is your one and only Jake of All Trades, the place to be for any niche, every genre, and all generations. I am your master of ceremony, D to the E to the LRO, aka JDR, aka the extraordinary introvert. Man, does it feel good to say that again. So before we start, just a quick couple of announcements and logistical stuff. So I'm gonna be your homeroom teacher for a little bit. So first of all, sorry if I did not have an episode or an upload last week. Obviously, I had to deal with some real life stuff, aka work stuff. But now we're right here. We're back on the recording session, and I'm glad to be doing this again after quite some time. Second of all, by the time you will be seeing this video, it is going to be November. So you've already been 10 months into 2020, and I know what you guys are thinking. Oh, 2020 has not been it. It's been a very horrific year. Well, guys, I've got news for you. We've got around 60-ish days to go. So please, by all means, make every single day count. It's never too late for that plot twist or just to make the year better. However y'all want to make it better. So with that out of the way, yeah, 2020 is still far from over. We still got a lot of game left. So it's all about making each day count, all right? So with all those out of the way, let's finally get into it. So guys, it seems that my luck is just not running out anytime soon. So we got another prominent popular figure. So in the previous episode, we got the Batch of Valedictorian over here. This time around, we got a popular figure slash DJ slash host. So as you all know, this guy rocked over at Magic, and I think he still is despite the quarantine. So he's a DJ over at Magic 89.9. He is a product of the Junior Jocks program. He recently ventured into hosting back when we could still go out, back when pwede pa tayo gumala. And he recently branched out as well into content creation over at YouTube. And if you still don't know who the heck this guy is, he is the son of one of the PBA legends who is currently killing it right now at the PBA bubble, and he is also the nephew of another basketball figure, prominent basketball figure, who gave a chip to the Tamarals of Far Eastern University back in 2015. So if these are all starting to ring a bell for all of you, then let's introduce him. So without further ado, let's get ready to ramble with Ryan Anthony Racela.
Hey, what an introduction, man. You made me seem a lot cooler than I actually am. So thank you for that.
I am honestly really nervous because, this guy has a bigger following. So, there's quite a ton of pressure for me not to mess up some stuff and all. So, I just had to give you a proper intro.
Yeah, it's fine, man. I mean, we're all trying to do new things this quarantine, right? And the podcasting, it's a new thing for all of us, right? So if even if I'm a person coming from radio, I may know certain things. There are things that you know that I may not know, right? So it's nice to always meet new people and learn different things.
Yeah, facts. Yo, speaking of new people, it's funny? Like, Ryan and I happen to be batchmates, but despite that, we were never classmates in grade school, high school, or even college.
But yeah, I don't think we've actually even...
it's crazy, man.
Ever met, actually. Yeah, no.
It is crazy. All right, so with all that out of the way, I'm sure you guys know him, but just for formality's sake and just for those who want to get to know him more, this is your chance, Ryan. Go ahead. The floor is now yours. Please introduce yourself to me again and to some of my followers who may be wondering who the heck I have right now on this episode.
All right. So hi guys. Hi. Do your fans have like names? Are they like the JOATs or do you have a name for them?
I called them the Del Bros and Sisters.
The Del Bros. Okay, I like that.
And
that.
sisters,
So
we can't.
All right. What's up, Del Bros and Sisters? My name is Ryan Racela. Like Jake said, I'm a radio and events host. I'm a content creator. Before the pandemic, at least, my job was I was on the radio and I hosted events. But now that we're in this quarantine situation, I host online events and I host the YouTube channel Ryan Rambles with Ryan Racela. And I can't say I have another thing, but I can't say it quite yet. But producing content is the other thing that I do. So yeah.
Wow, very interesting stuff. So as you guys can see, the resume is pretty much stacked. DJ at Magic, host, and also a content creator over at YouTube. And I actually love your previous episode. Like, you got to feature your mom on it. That was very cute.
We watched Baguettes. Yeah, it was one of my mom's favorite movies growing up. And so I wanted to watch it, and we watched it together, and it was a lot of fun. And I know you can relate, since we went to the same high school, we went to the same college. Mm-hmm. We both had Herbert Bautista as our mayor, right?
Yes.
Papa Herb. And
Legend.
Right? And whenever it would rain, we'd be like, oh, Papa Herbs, please suspend classes. And he'd actually do it. Mm-hmm. Diba? But in Baguettes, he plays like the nerd in the group. So there's a scene, they're swimming, and they find out na supot pa si Herbert Bautista. So there's a scene that literal tinatuli siya. And then it's just so weird because growing up, he's our mayor, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, the stuff you learn like online and all that stuff. But
just a little sneak preview if you want to catch that video.
Oh yeah, and I'll certainly link it in my description for my followers and listeners to check it out. So yeah, thanks for the tidbits right there. So as we all know, Ryan is a events guy. He's a host. He's a DJ and all that stuff. But as you can see, the family lineage, it's very different. And usually, at least for me, in the Philippines or in any ideal situation, usually if your dad is a prominent, professional ball player, usually the sons or any other relative would follow suit. Like in the NBA, you have the late Kobe Bryant, God rest his soul. His father, Joe, played for the 76ers back in the 70s. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, in the words of Flight Reacts, look at Curry, man. Dell played for Charlotte back in the 90s before Steph came over and, played for my Warriors currently. And then, of course, you don't need to look any further. Look at the Ravenna bros. Their father, Bong, played in the PBA. You look at the Nieto brothers. Their dad, Jet, played for Ateneo back then.
The Paras brothers, the Tang brothers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Eldefonso brothers, Right.
And somehow, you have Coach Olsen, who's pretty much a legend, a PBA legend for San Mig, and he's currently an assistant right now at Ginebra. And then you have Coach Nash, who is a prominent coach at FU, and he's currently coaching Blackwater. So you would think, Ryan Anthony Racela would be wearing number 17, point guard for the Ateneo Blue Eagles. But, he's out here doing different things. Basically, very far-fetched, very opposite of what, the dad and the uncle are doing right now. So,
yeah,
I'm pretty much curious, what made you choose the basketball route, and I guess also what went down, I guess, with you and your father, just your family in general, like what were your dinner convos like with regards to, choosing a different career path and just,
Right. Well,
blazing your own path in general?
I think, like being the son of a basketball player, it doesn't mean that you're going to become a great basketball player, even if you choose to do it. Like, think about Michael Jordan's son. Do you know, like, what became of him? He has two sons, and neither of them made it to the NBA.
Yeah.
Or think about the son of Pat Ewing, right? His son made it to the NBA, but he was like a bench warmer. So if you think about it like that, right, it's not a guarantee in the first place. So there's that. And for me personally, basketball was always fun, but it wasn't something I wanted to make a career out of. So it's not that I didn't want to do it. It's more of just like I didn't see myself doing it and pursuing it as a career, because I'm a huge like Utah fan. I like here. If you can see it, this is my Utah shirt. It's signed by Donovan Mitchell.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm a huge like Utah fan. I grew up basketball growing up, and I enjoy playing it. It's just that competing at the level that people compete in, like even in high school, these guys practiced in the morning and then they had class and then they had training after. So that was just like a lifestyle that I didn't want to have.
Amazing, crazy stuff. And it's good that you mentioned that, because for all these guys listening, bahayang assumption nila is dahil basketball player yung mga tatay nila and all that, it's a shoe-in, an automatic shoe-in to the league.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean na you have relatives who play for the big leagues na you're guaranteed a spot. Like, you still have to earn your draft pick. You have to earn your success in life, regardless of what that is.
Yeah, but I think the advantage you have is well, first of all, genetics, right? If you get the height genes, the speed, the strength, then it's a lot easier to develop your talent. And of course, your dad already has all these connections, and you can get the best conditioning, the best nutrition, the best training. But you also have to decide all those things. Like, even if it's all there, you can choose not to do it, right? Like, you have so many children of doctors, of lawyers, who don't become doctors and who don't become lawyers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I actually wanted to, touch on that for a while. Like, as you all know, with the world, constantly evolving. Usually, the thing back then is, if I'm a doctor, dapat yung anak ko doctor din, or if I'm a lawyer, you have to be a lawyer as well, or any other field. Like, if I'm a prominent businessman, you got to be the same thing growing up. So I guess before we get into the meat of the episode, like, what are your thoughts on just conforming against old school traditions of following the footsteps ika nga, like, of previous ancestors and just relatives in general?
I think to kind of talk about that first, you have to think about what the parents want versus what the child wants, right? Because there are times that, yes, they want the same thing, and it's great. They become doctors, they become lawyers, but it's really the child's decision, right?
Yeah.
Like, even if it is the dad who puts the kid through, let's say, med school or law school, if 1 minute he decides that he doesn't want to do it anymore, the dad literally can't do anything to force him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And did your dad, did he instill any sort of, pressure on you, or was he cool with your decision of not to pursue the b-ball route and just go a different path, which in this case is, hosting and being a DJ on Magic?
Right. Well, I think him being a basketball player, the only thing he really taught me was when I find a job, what I have to do is the thing he always said was I'm not sure how to put it or how to find the exact words, but it was something along the lines of and it's a pretty famous quote. It's like, it goes something like, if you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure the exact quote is you can find it somewhere, but it's along those lines, right? So it was always find something that I love doing, and that even if I do it every day, it wouldn't feel like work. And that's what I do now. Like, I mean, of course, it still feels like work in the sense where, you know, it's tiring to edit all day or think of ideas, but it's fun. It's work that I really want to do, and I can't imagine myself doing anything else.
Wow, that's good stuff. That's good to know. And actually, you know what? To be honest, like, podcasting would have been a solid part-time or full-time thing. But then again, I also wanted to experience, you know, the corporate life. So I just do this for, you know, for leisure, for fun. But I also maintain that uniform schedule of trying to post every week and editing myself. But then again, I couldn't post, you know, a week ago because, you know, work got hectic. But yeah, it's really interesting how you mentioned the importance of treating what you do as not like work, you know. I think the importance is to choose what you love doing the most and just really making the most out of it. And by doing that, it won't feel like it'll start to not feel like work anymore, to be honest.
Yeah. And I think that, like, just to be the best at something, right? You think about these people who are really the best at what they do, like Jordan, right? Like Kobe, like Michael Phelps. They really love what they're doing, right? And if your desire comes from passion and it's not motivated by things like money or fame, it comes from really loving the thing that you do, you can't help but to excel at it. That's what I think.
Yeah, for sure. So for my listeners out there who's tuning in right now, if you want to choose something that you love, go ahead and do it. But do know that there will be a lot of sacrifices. There's going to be a lot of hours that you will have to dedicate.
Right.
Even if it's not a serious job, even if it's simply pursuing a YouTube video or baking or any of that good stuff, there's always that amount of effort and amount of dedication that you have to put into your craft every single day.
Right, exactly. And I also have to say that starting anything, you're gonna suck at when you start something. And you have to accept that. Like, you're no matter how much work you're gonna put into your first whatever it is, if it's a video or a cake, your first whatever is gonna be really bad. But you have to keep making, and you have to keep doing it for it to get good. And that's where passion comes in, right? If it sucks at first because you love doing it, you're just gonna keep doing it. Compared to if you want, I want to get famous or I want to make all this money, you're gonna stop because it sucks, right?
Yeah, definitely. So speaking of, you know, sucking at the first time, this is the part where I would like you to share to me your early experiences at Magic. So as you all know, you did end up trying out as a junior jock at Magic. So what was it like, you know, from the recording of the actual spiel to putting the songs together and, you know, meeting famous personalities? Like, did you ever meet, you know, Boom Gonzalez and Tina Suzy and CJ and all that? So, you know, describe to me what was your early years or your early stages of DJing or hosting was like.
Like as a junior jock, or are you talking about when I got hired as a DJ?
I guess junior jock muna, because I want to know like the very first experiences that you've had at Magic.
Well, I auditioned in 2015. So I was a freshman in college. I was just like skinny, like 18-year-old kid. Like I didn't even know what I was doing there. I just went there. I don't super recall, but I think it was along the lines of I was talking to this girl, and then she was just like, "Oh, what are you up to? What are you doing?" And I was just like, you know, I feel like I'm not auditioning for this thing because I didn't like, wala na akong masabi. Like I didn't have anything else to say, like topic-wise. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'm auditioning for this thing. And well, to be fair, I had been thinking about this auditioning for this thing since I found out it was possible. Right, but I think this is what really pushed me. So I ended up going. It was in Eastwood, Red Box in Eastwood, which no longer exists. There's no more Red Box in Eastwood. And I went in, and I did my audition for Tina Ryan and for Sam O. And yeah, I don't know. I also did this thing where I wanted to project myself as this like cocky, confident dude. Because I thought that if I had like a personality, that's when they'd get me. So, you know, I was kind of like a, you know, was kind of like a D-bag, and yeah. So when I think it was Tina Ryan or Sam, yeah, when Tina Ryan asked me, she's like, okay, describe me. No, I said that I like John Mayer, and then she was like, okay, describe me in a John Mayer song. I was like, perfectly lonely, and she's like, what? I'm lonely? And then I kind of brought out the BS, and I was like, oh yeah, like that's what the song may seem, but if you look at the instrumentation, it's really like it's about beauty and it's about elegance, and then bang, pasok.
Yeah, looks like those Ateneo years really taught you how to BS stuff, right?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we can agree with that. Wow, that's how you get in, guys. When the going gets tough, or when you're nakatali ka, like when you're on the spot, like you just gotta wing it, I think that's what best DJs are known for. It's not really memorizing a prepared script, but it's more so learning how to ride within the waves of impromptu stuff or situations.
Right. But I have to say that the impromptu stuff, it's still something that you need to practice. And that's why DJs are such great hosts, is because we do ad-libs every every time we want to speak. We need to talk in between songs, right? And there's only such a limited time, right? From when the guy stops singing in the last song, there's still instruments playing, right? And that goes into another song, and before that guy starts singing rather, there's instruments playing. So you only have that window to say everything you want to say like the spiel you have, and shout out the sponsors, shout out the listeners who want to be shouted out. You only have that little of time, and it's good practice for ad-libbing because you do it all the time.
Yeah, for sure. And before we get to the next question, I don't know, did you think that your time at Magic, or your spiels and all your speaking at the booth, did it help you with your ACAD as well? Like, Ateneo is known for oral exams. We have a lot of orals and stuff. So nakatulong ba yung experiences mo sa Magic when it came to speaking in front of your profs, trying to defend a thesis statement or answering a question during orals?
Right. Well, I think the biggest difference is when you do orals, you still have to know what the heck you're talking about.
Yeah.
If they're talking about like philosophers, and I didn't read Marcel or I didn't read Heidegger, I can't BS my way into like I can't quote anything they said if I don't know it. But I will say it helped in the sense where once I start talking, even if I don't know where I'm going, I know that I'll find it eventually. Like there are filler words I can use. I can start the sentence with something like, so I think that, and I don't even know what I'm saying when I say so I think that. I'm thinking what I'm gonna say while I'm thinking so I think, while I'm saying so I think that, so that I can figure out where I'm going.
Yeah. So may say naman, like the magic skills that you applied, you were able to incorporate them naman with your orals, like those catchphrases or yung mga transition words that would try to help you recall your memory and just create a chain of thoughts.
I'll say more of time management is what I got. So when I was a freshman, I used to go on Boom's show twice a week. So how that would work is I go to the station, and then the show ended at 12, and then my class was like 12:30. No, 1 naman. My class was 1, but I had to get from the station to Ateneo. It was an MRT, LRT, and then trek to Ateneo.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I wouldn't make it to class. Like I'd have to run to class. And my prof at the time was a dude who, his rule was like, if you're late, you're absent. And if you're absent, you can't take the test.
Oh, no.
So I think I max cuts that class, and I got a C. But they say C's get degrees. So I'm here, I'm a graduate, and it's all good.
At the end of the day, it's all about passing.
Yeah.
And it's all said and done. Wow. Yeah. So many stories to share, and I'm really grateful. I'm really thankful that they took the time to just share these stories and share these, tidbits of information because, should we get back to normal, hopefully soon,
Right.
I'm sure the Junior Jocks program will come back. And I'm sure right now, like, there are virtual auditions. I mean, kung ngayon may online PBB, I'm sure Magic will come up with something that will like benefit the aspiring DJs who want to, try out their luck at Magic.
Right. Well, we don't have auditions right now, but we do have Junior Jocks, and we're trying our best to train them still. But it's hard. But we have these kind of catch up sessions. So it's like a big Zoom call, and everyone's there, and we broadcast it, and then we see how everyone's doing, what's going on, and the cool thing is a lot of the Junior Jocks they have podcasts of their own. They start their own businesses, and it just makes me so proud as I'm one of the DJs that trains them, because it's us younger DJs who are responsible for the Junior Jocks. So seeing them kind of spread their wings and do things on their own, it makes me really happy.
Mm-hmm. Wow, you actually answered my question now, because I wanted to transition to, from being a junior jock yourself to being one of the higher ranks of Magic. So since you answered it, but I guess you can add a little more, like, if you want. How was it like, taking care of people that are much younger than you and understanding their struggles? I'm sure they have a lot of moments where they jitter, they have jitters, or they stutter a lot. Some might not know how to press the play button of a song. So I guess how were you able to share your experiences as a junior jock to this new batch of rookie DJs?
Right. Well, first I have to say that I'm not the main guy responsible. So see DJ Mig Santillan, he's the dude who really he's responsible for the whole thing. So he does like all the him and Zoe, they do all the board work stuff. So the press play thing, they're the ones who make sure that the junior jocks know what they're doing. And then Hannah Bakani, she's the one who makes sure that they sound great. So all I really have to do is fine tune. And when they come on my show, I teach them things here and there and how to improve. So for me, and I'm a DJ who was one of the, I don't want to say bottom junior jocks, but I wasn't the best. You know how you do something, like whether it's an org or a class or whatever, there's someone who really always stands out. Right?
Yeah,
like,
for
you
sure.
know who the star student is, or the star athlete, and I was none of those things.
Mm-hmm.
I'd always eat my words. I always used to stutter. And yeah, it's really just practice. Like what we were talking about kanina, about how you have to suck at something. Yeah, I just kept doing it, and then after 4 years, they hired me. So
Wow.
thankfully they did, and I'm here.
Wow, that's crazy. How time flies, and yeah, it's really great that they hired you as a part-time or full-time.
Yeah, well, full time, but I was on my last sem in Ateneo, so I was still in school, but I was doing it. So like how that would work, I'd have class from 8 to 9:30, and then I'd go straight there for my show from 12 to 2, and then I'd have to come back because I had class 3:30 to 5, and then 5:30 5 to 6:30. So yeah, so class, show, class.
Wow. Wow, what a crazy schedule that would have been.
Yeah. I don't know how I survived it, man. Like sometimes on the way there, I take the bus to the station, and then I have my like philo readings, like highlighters and stuff. But yeah, I made it, and I'm here.
Yeah. Before we do go to some of the DJ stories, because I definitely would like you to share some of those. If you were to do it all over again, would Magic still be the place to be, or would you have chosen a different station like RX or Wave or Play FM or something like that? Or was Magic talaga the primary option for you from the get-go?
You mean like as a junior jock, like auditioning as a junior jock?
Yeah, or just starting out radio in general, because I think RX has the student jocks by yan, or
right.
basta they have their own program for college students then.
Yeah. See, dude. Like the fact that you don't even know what their student jocks are called, and you know that Magic they're called junior jocks.
Mhm.
See, like that's a big statement right there. I honestly believe, like with no bias. I mean, I guess some bias because I came from it.
Yeah.
That Magic has the best student DJ program, and it really gave me the confidence to be who I am today. Like, let's say even if I didn't become a DJ, the stuff that I learned from the program still helped me so much in school and in whatever career I would have ended up in. I'm sure I still would have used the stuff that I learned.
Yeah, for sure. And this may be biased, but I just love how Magic is super inclusive. Like, they really take good care of their DJs, whether junior jock or full-time DJ na. Like, you can really see that these guys, you know, who end up being DJs, they get to branch out to different things. We'll get to that in a bit. But, you know, look at Boom, for example. You know, he's a Magic DJ, but outside of that, he was, you know, one of the prominent sports anchors for ABS.
He still is. Yeah. He still is one of the. He still is the voice of. I think when I think about UAAP sports, I still think of Boom Gonzalez.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
When we were in grade school, he was the dude calling the plays, and through high school and still college, like he's still the man, and that's just a testament to how good Boom is. Like through all these years, he finds ways to reinvent himself and to remain relevant.
Oh yeah. And yun nga, it's such a shame that, you know, they don't have a network anymore. But hopefully, you know, when it's all said and done, they can get back, because I really do want to hear his voice again. You know, it's super iconic, and you know, yun nga, she said earlier, when you say Boom Gonzalez or when you say the UAP, like the first thing that comes to mind is, you know, Boom Gonzalez, because he's been there, he's done that for the past how many years already. So yeah, that just proves how Magic really takes good care of their DJs,
Right.
and they allow them to really just seek their passion outside of radio. And before we get to that, what are some of your favorite moments or some of your embarrassing slip-ups at Magic? Because let's admit, you know, there are some times where we nearly say some cuss words. I mean, personally in the show, I've said some cuss words by accident. So I'm sure you've had similar close calls at the very least. Because I listen to your show, by the way. Like, whenever I'd go for a drive around Katip or something like that, I always hear you around noontime and afternoon. And I just love how you deliver very eloquently, and I love how you get to pick up the pace, or just what do you call that? Like kapag may mistake, kapag may mali, you just bounce back right away.
Yeah, you pick it up from.
Yeah, for sure.
You pick yourself up.
Mm-hmm. So like, what were some of those near close calls experiences, or some mistakes that, you know, possibly happened during your stint at Magic?
I've never cursed on air, thankfully, but that's because when you're a junior jock, before you ever get to be on air, you have so much training, and that's what people don't know. Some people audition thinking like day one, you know, day one audition, day two become a junior jock, day three you're a DJ. Like it's not that simple.
Oh yeah.
There's so much training involved. So I think that's why I never cursed on air. But I will admit that one time, I was still a junior jock, and I was doing a news bit about movies. I always talk about movies, and I love talking about movies. But this particular one, I saw this news article that it was so good that I wanted to say it right away. I didn't think to double check whether information was accurate, so I accidentally announced Back to the Future 4. But as we know, there is no Back to the Future 4. So if anyone listening heard me announce it, I'm sorry.
So you didn't accidentally spit a cuss word or anything like that?
No, I just accidentally announced Back to the Future 4. Just said some fake news.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. And I think that's another thing we have to remind our listeners here. Like, there's no such thing as a perfect spiel. There's no such thing as a perfect show. Like, you know, sometimes right now, I mean, I'm kind of messing up. You know, there are times where I have awkward silence or dead noise. But, you know, it's just all about learning how to carry yourself or how to pick it up and just, you know, move on with the segments and just the overall feel of the show para maging authentic pa rin. Because, it's easy to edit out and stuff, but at the same time, trying to do that live, like, it's also not really...
Yeah, on radio, there's no editing. If you mess up, you mess up. That's it.
Yeah, for sure. Even in a podcast like this, where it's a Zoom recording and there are no cuts in between, every mistake is really magnified, and you really have to be more cautious talaga of minimizing them at the very least. So,
right.
Yeah, now that we've touched on the radio life, let's transition now to the part where you were able to branch out into your hosting career. And I remember you got to host Blue Rose last year. Like, I remember your hosting voice while I was in the crowds. You hosted a couple of...
Yeah. How was it? You remember me hosting Blue Roast?
Yeah. I
remember you were there.
I remember he had that one line. Oh, I'm sure you wouldn't want to die in this night. So, because I was like, no drunk driving if you don't feel like it. Because I had a PSA na contact a medical driver or just someone who can take you back home. And you said something in the lines of, oh, you don't want to die in your special day before graduation, right?
I don't remember saying that, but I will say that is something that I would say.
Yeah. You've also hosted a couple of bonfires back then. And I'm sure, before the pandemic hit, you were on the side hustling with hosting gigs and all that other good stuff. So,
right.
I guess, what made you feel confident, to finally get out the booth and to venture into the new world of hosting, just out there, in the balls or, in the field or wherever?
I guess I really have to thank Magic for that. I have to thank the Junior Jock program, because you enter the program and then there's or you enter the booth, and well, when I was with JJ, at least there used to be pictures of all the DJs on the wall, and you see like Sam YG and then of course Suzy, CJ, Boom, all these amazing DJs who are also hosts. So of course, when you want to be a DJ, hosting is right there. And lucky for me, because I was on Boom's show a lot. My first hosting gig came from there. They wanted to get Boom Gonzalez to host this sports fest for this company, but his TF was too high. So he was like, so I guess the people were like, oh, why don't we get this guy who's on the show? He sounds young, he'll probably do it for a lot less. So let's ask him. And I did do it, and that was the first thing I ever hosted. They don't know that was the first thing I ever hosted, but it's all good. It worked out. I met Ali Peak there and stuff. It was a good time. So I guess from there, that gave me the confidence to do more and more hosting. Like if I could do this, then I can do the next one and the next one. So eventually that just spiraled into, during college I'd host for a lot of orgs. They'd always get me to host things, and then thankfully when I graduated for more professional stuff, debuts and corporate events, and of course like the bonfire and stuff like that, and now stuff's online, so that's where it's at right now.
Oh, so that's nice. You still get to host pa rin kahit online. Like they still tap you up for online events and gigs.
I wish it was as often as I would get live events, and I guess technically yes, you can say they still do, but it's not enough for me to live off that right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean live events in general, they don't do it as much as they used to. There are a lot of events now that don't have a host, right? And even the performances aren't live. They have musicians recorded, and then there's just it's like someone just does like a voiceover, or there's just some text. And I don't know, I guess it's live in the sense that people watch it live together, but it's not live in the sense where people really do the music and host, and I don't know, it just doesn't feel the same, is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Yeah,
for sure. And that's like one of the biggest things I miss the most, like just live events in general. I think I went to my first concert actually about a year ago, mga November of last year. Like, I'm not sure if you know LMA. Yeah, just seeing people gather in large crowds, whether it's a concert or an event, like nothing replaces that, to be honest. You can have all these online events with pre-recorded stuff, but the rawness of the moment, like from people reacting, from people singing along to some of the songs, like it's gonna be so hard to replicate when it's in a screen, you know, screen like this. Like nothing beats the original feel of a live show, whether it's a concert or an event or just a hosting gig in general.
Yeah, and as a host, it's really important to feed off the crowd, because if and to feed off their energy. I mean, you can't be a host and go like, "What's going on?" right? Or like, "What's up, everybody?" And then the crowd's just like these 30-something, 40-something people in ties and the coats and ties and a colored shirt, you know, stuff like that. And online, there's nothing like that. So you don't know who your audience is. You don't know what they want. So it's really hard to gauge your energy. And energy also it's a huge thing. You get a lot of it from adrenaline that you get from the crowd. And when there's no crowd, it's really hard to draw that. So you really have to channel it in another way, maybe use your imagination, but it's a lot harder.
Yeah, it sure is. And you know, hopefully, you know, when it's all said and done, you know, once makalabas na ulit tayo, we can, you know, bring back some of the things that we got to enjoy back then. And those, we're still miles away from that. Like, you know, I honestly believe we're gonna get back to live events and hosting gigs and stuff like that. Because, you know, at the end of the day, that's what brings people joy. And, you know, stuff like hosting or just being a DJ and all that stuff, like, the important thing talaga is whatever you do, you just have to bring joy, you know, around other people's faces. And yeah, that's all that matters. And another thing, so now that we've discussed hosting, another thing that you were able to branch out on is YouTube creation. So yeah, I've seen some of your videos. They're very nicely edited, to say the least. And I actually want to ask, like, did you hire someone to edit these for you, or did you have to like learn these things on the fly? Just like how I'm trying to learn editing on the fly. Like my podcasts, you know, they're uploaded naman, they're published, but my editing skills are still not up there. Like I still have a lot of work to do. So in your case, you know, how would you assess, you know, your editing skills, whether you've done it by yourself or you've had help from other people?
Well, I'll say first that I don't have the budget to hire an editor, so I don't hire anyone to edit my videos. I do everything by myself. But thankfully for me, I was a comm major in Ateneo, and in comm kasi in Ateneo, you can choose between different tracks. So there's film, there's journalism, public relations, advertising, media studies. So I chose film. So in essence, I was a film student, and thankfully for me, I was able to use that and use everything I learned from like camera work, editing, even lights, like here. I learned all of that, and I was able to apply it. And I have background also in even sound editing. I used to be really into music in high school and even in college. So like that came into it. Like the mic I use is 10 years old. I had it since I was 14.
Oh wow.
And no, not 13. Yeah, since I was 13. So, you know, everything kind of just worked out for me, and that's why it made sense for me also to start a YouTube channel. Yeah, it made sense for me to start a YouTube channel because I knew that I had the skills to do it. But again, I still had a lot to learn. And whenever I saw something I didn't know how to do, I just searched Final Cut tutorial, how to do whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good that you have full control of, you know, your videos, even though it's quite difficult. Even though we're not the best when it comes to these. Like, we're not professional graphic designers or something, but just the fact that we are able to edit on our own and do all that other good stuff, like, we deserve to give ourselves a pat on the back. And actually the thumbnail like that you make, and I see them sometimes on my YouTube, like they're very well thought out. It's not generic. Did you have to learn Photoshop or any other editing software just to come up with such thumbnails?
To answer that, I have to say that I did this thing. It was like a short course on YouTube success. So it really taught you how to make videos, not in the technical sense, but how to craft them to be searchable and to get views. So there's a section about thumbnails and how to make good thumbnails. So they taught me to make it like creative and really clickable. So I'd always have parts of my video where at the end it's just me like posing and stuff. So that come editing, I could just like take a screenshot and then use that in my thumbnail. And to answer your question about the software, it depends what I'm going for, but usually I just use Canva, man. Canva and Photoshop.
Yeah, same. I also use those for my promo pics or my thumbnail on YouTube as well. So yeah,
Canva Pro, if you still have your OBF email, you can use it to get free Canva Pro. If you
oh nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely try that out as well. I think mixing that in Photoshop really can bring you a long way. So as we all know, you're a YouTube content creator as well. So does that mean you get monetized, or are you still miles away from being eligible for monetization?
Yeah, it takes a crazy amount of views to be eligible. I don't even know what the number is, but you need something like 1,000 subscribers first, and then like an X amount of cumulative views. So I don't have that, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to branch out into this thing called affiliate marketing. So I'm trying to do that. I'll get around to it. I'm still trying to build myself up some more. I'm trying to get to a certain amount of views per video, and I'm trying to get to my first 30 videos first before I do any of the other stuff. I think I'm at video like 20 something.
Yeah.
So maybe by like Jan, I'll start to think about monetizing. But right now, I'm just trying to think about making the best content possible. And I think when you're starting out, that's really all you need to think about. You can't think about money right away. It needs to be like a slow process, a slow burn, if you will. And that's how you really stick to something. You make it a habit.
Yeah, for sure. Ryan said it best. Like, if you guys are just in it for the money, I think long term, that's not really good. That's not the way to go. I think eventually, as we mentioned earlier, you're gonna want to quit. As soon as you realize, oh no, I'm not earning as much, or I'm not getting as much subscribers as I envisioned. It's really all about sucking it up sometimes and just going with the motion, or not going with the motions, but just producing continuously, regardless of the number of views or the number of likes and all that stuff. I think the important thing is to just maintain a constant flow of things and just posting nonstop, regardless of the results in the end.
Yeah, and I think it also takes a specific type of person to want to do something like this. You really have to be creative, because it's so easy to run out of ideas. Like, I'm sure sometimes for your podcast you're running out of guests or topics to talk about. So it really takes a specific type of person to want to do these things. And maybe you're not that person, but you still want to do this. That's fine. Hire someone or find a friend who is creative and who wants to share ideas with the world. So it can be a collaborative process. Like, you don't have to do it alone. You can find friends or neighbors that want to work with you and do it that way.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, there you guys go. These are just some of the nuances, some of the curtails of just figuring out, the different the different aspects, the different steps, and some of the struggles and breakthroughs of pursuing this type of career. Because, make no mistake about it, it's not like corporate where you have a 9 to 5 and all that. But at the same time, you can't just do these whenever you want. You have to like follow a certain schedule, a certain flow, and just a certain amount of discipline just to come up with such videos that are not really for you, but really more for your viewers. Like at the end of the day, it's all about entertaining the people who watch your videos.
Yeah, right. And it's also, when I started out, something was I don't want to become like a vlogger and just talk about my life, because it's so weird to do that when nothing interesting happens to me. Interesting things do happen to me, but not every day. And I think vloggers have this challenge, and they try to like frame it in a way where it's like, oh, you won't believe what my mom did, stuff like that. And they have to, they have to live lives that are so like, interesting, or what they think is interesting to other people. And I don't think that's how you need to live your life, right? So I didn't want it to become that. So I decided to just make content that I wanted to make, and not make it really about me.
Yeah, for sure. That's really the tip. That's the main tip, for those who want to pursue this type of lifestyle. And just retreat to my last question before we wrap it up. So what are some of the pieces of advice and the wealth of knowledge that you can give to your listeners, my viewers, or just anyone who comes across this episode? What are some of the tips that you can give those who want to pursue content creation full time, or those who want to pursue hosting when this is all said and done, or for those who want to try out their luck being a DJ wherever that radio station may be? So what are some of the tips you can give for those who are thinking about pursuing these types of careers?
Right. Well, for being a DJ and for hosting, I think you really need to want it, and you really need to love doing it first. Like I will say that don't get into it if you just want to be famous, because you're not gonna be good at it if that's your goal. Like we've been talking about this whole episode, right? Like the people who are best at the people who are the best at what they're doing, it comes from a place of passion. They really love what they're doing. So I think that should shine through. But if we're talking about content creation, then I think like really anyone can be a content creator. Everyone has things that they're into, right? Whether it's like cooking or like music, even like crocheting, stuff like that. The world is so big, and the internet is so vast that niches exist, and even niches under those niches. Like let's say I'm into like, I'm not, but let's say I'm into knitting. There's a whole nother niche for like cotton knitting or wool knitting, right? So even if this really random thing that you're into, if before there's no way to monetize that or do anything with it, you can get these specific things and be a content creator of these things, and people will follow you. All you have to do is keep posting. You should follow this guy on Instagram. His name is Gary Vaynerchuk. He always talks about posting all the time and just continuing to produce content. So just make stuff. You're gonna suck at first, but it's fine. Do it every day, and you'll get better. And there'll come a point where people will notice you, and that may not be in a year, that may not be in 2 years, but if you love it, you'll keep doing it, and you'll be great at it eventually.
Yeah, for sure. Couldn't have said any better. So it's gonna be hard at first. That is given, or that's granted. But at the end of the day, it's just really picking your niche and just being good at it, or not being good at it right away, but just being, persistent over the course of time. Like it's all about just maintaining that same amount of passion and elevating that discipline to just want to pursue video, or just to want to edit videos and publish them, and really just making your viewers happy. Because at the end of the day, the regular viewer would not want to see someone who's half-heartedly speaking on the mic or just showing up on the
Right.
camera. Like first second pa lang, like he's gonna close that video already. Like it's all about engaging with your audience. It's all about being there for them with the types of content and the different types of advice that you give these listeners every single day.
Right.
So yeah, with that out of the way, that's been an episode of Ryan rambling with me, and
Is that the title? Like, what are you gonna call this one, man? Like,
I have no idea. I'm gonna have to think about it, but that's
Okay,
definitely a consideration. Like I'm definitely considering that.
okay.
Yeah. Yo, before we go though, and like I know I promised that would be the last question, but just out of
Okay, yeah,
curiosity,
go ahead.
just out of curiosity, like what were some of your favorite DJs, growing up? Like not really yes, again, like what would be your top 5 list of Magic DJs, whether you've listened to them on the radio or you've worked with them growing up? Like what were some of these iconic figures? Kahit hindi 5, like whatever your name pops up into your mind now.
Well, I think growing up first, going to school, we'd all listen to Mo Twister, right?
Yeah.
You go to school, and then before class starts, the topic is like, oh, did you hear what Mo Twister said kanina? He said this funny thing, and everyone's talking about it. So yeah, Mo would be one of the people I would always listen to. Mo, and then that's going to school, and then coming home from school, I'd always listen to Andy and Jessica.
Yes.
Doing the top 5
Sure.
5. Yeah. So they were big influences on me and what I thought radio was, and of course, Boom also. Boom is known as the sports guy, and the radio guy, but he's also such a good DJ, like mixing wise.
Hey, so
He's one of the
versatile.
best.
So versatile.
Yeah, Boom really is he's the GOAT. There's nothing else, to say about it. I think if you think about broadcasting, Boom really is the man. And I'm so fortunate to be in a position where I learn from him all the time, even now at the pandemic. I can always ask him questions, and he's such a nice person. So if you're listening to this, Boom, thank you so much. Yeah, if we're putting a ranking, like Boom is my number 1, man. Like
Yeah,
one of my
for
favorite
sure.
people.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Like if I have to come up with my own list, like Boom is definitely up there. Of course, I know him because I watch a lot of you up growing up, and
UAP.
yeah. Just hearing his spiels, just hearing him live, his catchphrases, and just his overall broadcasting skills. Like you can tell he knows what he's doing. He really knows what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
Wherever
Definitely.
he is, whether he's on the stands or whether he's on a hosting gig or when he's on the radio or when he's mixing some songs with his toilet mixes.
Yeah, right. The toilet mixes.
Yeah, I think he really is the gold standard when it comes to broadcasting in general.
Yeah. The GOAT.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yep.
like to sum it all up.
Mhm.
Gonzalez, the GOAT.
Yep. And yeah, I also like how you mentioned the pop stop women, see Andy and Jessica. Like I'm sure every Ateneo kid, or back then when we were still in grade school, like we'd all admit we'd all have a crush on see Jessica Mendoza.
Definitely, man. And especially because she was at the time she was our courtside reporter, right?
For sure.
What? Like we were like 11, 12. And she's like beautiful girl, and you hear her on the radio too. It's
Yeah.
impossible like not to fall in love with her, despite not knowing
For
her at all.
For sure. And it's made even better that Andy 9 was her partner in crime every weekdays at 5 p.m. Like I think Magic really did a great job of not just collecting personalities, but really putting them in the right places and the right time slots.
Yeah,
Because,
and
you know-
they were both junior jocks, so they're both like homegrown talent, and I think that says a lot also about what the junior jock, how strong the junior jock program is.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, with that out of the way, thank you, Ryan, for being here on the show. It was a pleasure, talking to you
Of
about
course.
the different experiences that you've had as a DJ, as a host, and as a content creator on YouTube. And I think now with this new normal not ending anytime soon, like I think a lot of people, because of guys like you and me, with the creation, like different types of stuff that we produce online, like it'll just motivate them to get in there, just hustle more and just come up with different ways to really be productive and maybe try to make a living out of it. This whole hosting and content creation. So before we go, as usual with other guests, do you have any plugs? Do you have any stuff you would like to promote, to some of my listeners?
Sure.
Well, besides your channel, of course, which you all gotta follow, by the way.
Just so again, please, watch my videos. I post videos every single Thursday. So, if you're looking for something to look forward to each week, there's that. I just posted a video about baguettes, and I think by the time this drops, when is this dropping?
Monday next week.
Monday. So I'll have posted my next video, and so this one's gonna be about Raya the Last Dragon. It's a Disney movie coming up, and it's inspired by Southeast Asian influences. There's arnistics and stuff like that. So there's that. My channel is all about Filipino culture, so I hope that you guys can check that out. Also, like my Facebook page. I post a lot of content there, and I do these Facebook lives, which I think are really interesting. They're always related to my videos, so I hope you can check that out as well. It's facebook.com/Ryan Rambles, and follow me on Instagram as well @_Ryan Racela.
There you guys go. So those are some of the links and accounts that y'all gotta follow. I will link them as well in the description on Facebook, IG, and on YouTube. So now it's my turn to share my plugs and links. So if you want to follow me on Instagram for the podcast account, it is @JOAT.pod.delro. So once again, it is @JOAT.pod.delro. If you want to check out my personal account, it is @Jake_Del_Ro. If you want to check me out on Twitter, it is @_Del_Ro_. On Facebook naman, it is facebook.com/JOAT.pod.delro. So it's similar to my Instagram account for the podcast. Or if you just want to search it, it is JakeOfAllTradesWithDelRo. This podcast can be streamed, televised, viewed, and listened to on the following platforms: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Radio Public, Breaker, and on YouTube. So before we go, how was that, right? I may not be able, but how was my outro right there?
Yeah, that was great. It's a lot of links to remember. So I'm proud of you for not stumbling through any of it. But yeah, good job, man. Especially, I know your whole thing is right. Your whole thing is about being an introvert who's trying to branch out into this extroverted platform. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So good on you for doing that. And hopefully people who are listening who want to do the same thing can.
Yeah, for sure. But thanks for the kind words right there. It's pretty difficult sometimes to say the spiels and all that, but with practice and with repetition, like it's just gonna get better. All right. So with that out of the way, that's a wrap, y'all. Thank you for tuning in today, mga Del Bros and Sisters. This has been your one and only Jake of all trades. I am Delro. He is the Master Rambler, Ryan. And we are both signing out. Hanggang sa susunod na usapan at chikahan. See ya.